What happens after that?
At 8 hours. I don't know. So according to this, on my one, it's got no viewers.
Okay, let's test it.
But should we just do it anyway?
Let's see what happens if I try and get onto it from here. Obviously, it's going to ruin your internet. But
I don't mind. If anyone can see it, hello. But if they can't, then that doesn't matter, does it? There are 11 viewers, it's saying now.
Yep, so you're up, yep. Oh, and I'm there.
Can you see yourself?
Yeah.
So are people, can they say things on it? Try and say something.
Shall I keep Patreon open?
I don't know.
In case people will write on there.
Look, there's 16 people here and Christmas is depending on it. Right.
So it's working. I've paused it on my end.
Is that you, 17?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Because the internet. Oh, yeah, no, there's a live chat.
So do something on the live chat.
So I can see it all.
But I can't see the live chat from where I am.
There must be something you can open. Go to like the sidebar. You know, there was like when you put the mouse over on the left.
Yeah.
There must be a way you can open the chat.
Recent app. Oh, here we go. Chat. Got it. Group chat. Not
Can you see everyone?
I can't see anyone.
Alec Norton. Corbyn's on there.
Corbyn off the internet?
Yes.
Wow.
PDT's on there.
PDT. I've got group chat. But no, I can see 22 viewers and I can see group chat.
But can you not see
But I can't see anything.
Yes.
No. What are they saying? You read them to me.
Okay. Hello.
Hi.
Blimey, looks like I pledged for the Patreon at just the right time.
Who is this?
So the first one was Carl Rivers. Then Alec Norton said blimey and hello there. Corbyn said hello.
Hello.
Carl Rivers said, who is this guy? I subscribe to his Patreon, giving him £50 a month, but not really sure what he does.
Well, you didn't because only one person has done 50 and I know that person.
Corbyn says, think he's some sort of motivational speaker. Well, he actually wrote motivational speaker.
Okay. Well,
can you really not see these?
No, you can see what I can see.
But as in, there's no option to show them.
Look, this is.
Well, I'll take the chat then. I'll cover.
You're in charge of the chat. There we go. It's group chat. Nothing. I'll probably click something that I don't want to be bothered by people. So, so it's Christmas 2017.
Excuse me.
That'll keep happening. And I said that I'd do a live stream, and I don't really know why. I originally thought I would do it in case people were on their own or whatever. And who's left? Why has someone left? They started it.
Because we've taken so long getting everything.
I'm obviously going to do something in a minute. So we got some questions sent via Patreon, and I want to do it like Star Test. Remember Star Test? Joe?
No.
What?
I don't know what Star Test is.
Okay, well, Star Test was a very popular program in the 90s where celebrities like myself would go on there and they were in like an empty room. So really, you being there, I'll need to put my hand like that just so they can't see you. And it was a computer and they were interviewed by the computer, and we'll do it that way. And you just read the questions. So you have to go, hello, Ian, welcome to Star Test.
Me?
Yeah, actually.
Hello, Ian, welcome to Star Test.
It was more floaty than that. I wasn't quite as aggressive.
Hello, Ian, welcome to Star Test.
Thank you, it's nice to be here. Please pick a category.
Please pick a category.
Okay. Big mamas. And then you ask a question.
Do I have to find a question that matches?
No, it's not.
Just any question.
Any question from on
there. Okay. First question from Mark Lee.
Mark Lee.
Something I'm intrigued by each year during re-listens to the old Ray Peacock podcast is who on earth is Steve Morrison? He was intended to be the third person in the podcast, but it never happened.
Yeah.
I imagine he wasn't really in a terrible car accident or arrested for fiddling with children, but whenever the early episodes of Series 1 comes on shuffle, I always wonder, oh, and who is your favourite reindeer? Figured I would help with the Christmas theme.
I don't have a favourite reindeer. Oh no, maybe Doc.
It's not a reindeer.
What am I thinking of?
Snow White.
Okay, well, it's Doc. And Steve Morrison was and still is as far as I know, a writer who I did some writing with, and our manager had the same manager, and our manager I think we were both had no other work. So our manager kept trying to put us together on things. So then when, he's a really nice lad, Steve, and Steve Morrison used to do stand-up. And part of his stand-up was when he walked on, he used to say, I know what you're all thinking, I know you recognise me. And then he would have a drink and he would like shake it, and it went everywhere. And he pretended that he was one of the children that was on Jim Will Fix It on the Revolution, and that everyone would recognise him from it. So that's Steve Morrison. I don't think he performs anymore. I think he might write on Man Down. I have a feeling he does that. I know that he recently stopped following me on Twitter. I know it was like the other day. I saw that. But I've not really been in touch with him for a long time. But he was a very funny lad. But he just was just not turning up, or he couldn't do it, or whatever. So that's who Steve Morrison was. He's definitely on Twitter somewhere. Okay. Purple Rain.
Vaughan Earl Norman wants to know, is Ray a different person to Ian? And where do you get your wacky and zany ideas from?
No, Ray isn't a different person to Ian. He was, though, when Ray Peacock was a character back in the day. In fact, do you know what? I found some audio of me doing the character of Ray Peacock recently, and I might put that up on here, but I might not, because I think it might be too naughty. And no difference at all. For a long time, people would say that it was just me in a hat, and that's probably true. And what was the other one? Wacky ideas?
Where do you get your wacky and zany ideas
just from life and that. Like this. What's happened here, right? Christmas Day, and I just thought, oh, I remember Star Test, but I was never old enough to go in it because I was a little child when it was on. And Star Test isn't on anymore, so now I thought I'll just do Star Test because I've seen Star Test in my life. So I will do Star Test on this, and Joe can be the computer, but you never see the computer, but I can't keep my hand up there. That's a good point. When I press it, you've got to go. Boop. Okay.
Alec Norton.
Wait, I've not pressed it yet.
I'm just saying, Alec Norton has added that a friend of his was actually on Jim Will Fix It and was asked to dress up in a sailor suit. Little tidbit for you there.
There's a little tidbit. Crime and Punishment.
Boop, boop, boop.
And it's like boop, boop.
Bloop.
No, should I just do it myself?
Yes.
Boop.
Corbin off the internet wants to know. I've just finished another listen through of the Ray Peacock podcast and just starting Peacock and Gamble. It's interesting hearing certain stories / jokes that you told on the podcast being used in your stand-up, Raji and the Police, London Dungeon, etc.
God, yeah, that was on the Ray Peacock podcast, wasn't it?
Ever designed to be a sort of testing ground for certain material at all, or did it even happen the other way around, with some bits being so funny that you decided afterwards to include them?
The podcasts were absolutely meant to be a testing ground. That's what they were for. So they were to write, really. They were, because I wasn't really happy with the amount of work I had, or having like no sort of fan base or nobody that would just come see me because it was me or whatever. So I wanted to basically do my writing live, or not live, but you know what I mean, in a room as a conversation, and then take it onto the stage if I then had an audience. So yeah, absolutely was that. So I've not just used stuff from the podcast because I can't write stuff. I was writing the stuff on the podcast. And I suppose really, if we're being really judgmental, then there's an argument that Ed wrote a lot of my stand-up because he was involved in the conversations. So didn't pay him for it or anything, but certainly that sparked off. But then again, I think he used some things from it in his stand-up as well. I know certainly there was definitely an idea that I had that ended up being a big part of the stand-up. I don't know if we ever did it on the podcast. Yes, so yes is the question. Is the answer, Corbin, to the question? Yes, it was meant to be in order to put it onto the stage later on.
Wait.
Oh, what?
If someone asks a question in the chat, does it supersede the question? As in, does it get ahead in the queue?
Oh, that's hard, isn't it?
Of questions that have been left on the comments.
Yes.
Okay.
Is it to do with what we've just been talking about?
You. Right. It's about stand up. So
all right. Yeah. Go on. Supersedes.
Oh, do your button.
Okay. Optimus Prime.
Christopher Clayton says, I really enjoyed listening to Here Comes Trouble. What did you think of the show on reflection, listening back to it years later? I didn't listen to it properly because I wasn't enjoying it. I thought it sounded rushed. But that was because when it was on tour, it was over twice the length of that. So I was able to take a lot more time with it when I took it on tour. So that's my memory of it, is doing it that way. So
when I now hear it being crammed into an hour in Edinburgh, it is crammed in. It's really sort of pushed in. So I thought it sounded rushed. I thought it sounded like I wasn't really engaged with the audience, that I was just spieling it. I didn't feel like I was talking with people. I thought there were funny bits in it. I thought an interesting part of it was that I wasn't like, unless it was deliberate. Because I kind of learnt it by that point in Edinburgh. I've been doing it the same thing every night, and because I had to fit it into an hour, it then became about the closest I've ever got to a script. Although some nights I did go off and do different things. So that's what I noticed, was that I didn't do that, what I just did. And if I did, then it was kind of scripted, like Frankie Howard. Is that the end of that one?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Hack of the Dog. I'm just saying things that I can see on my desk around me.
Chris Eastrich says...
Ostrich, it's pronounced. Ostrich.
Ostrich says, what is your favourite series of Red Dwarf? That's the big, deep and meaningful question I have a genuine desire to know.
Okay. My favourite series of Red Dwarf is actually series 2. And I'm reluctant to say that because that sort of implies that it's not been as good as that ever since, and I believe it has. I thought the last 2 series were very strong. But I also think that part of the favourite thing of it is to do with where I was and what age I was and what it sort of meant at school and that sort of thing. So, yeah, probably series 2. But I think there's strengths in all of it, in all the series. And I've never seen a bad episode of it, but I'm sure that will be argued. Red Dwarf.
We had a interjection with a quick little question in the live chat.
Yeah.
What's your favourite flavour of vape? I like custard.
From who?
N Drinks.
N Drinks.
I think that's someone's business name or something.
Custard Drinks. I only have one flavour of vape. It's in my hand right now. And it's coffee. It's like a sort of a cafe creme, I think it's called. But I mix my own vape, so it's never quite right. But I do my best with it. Did discover this though. Watch this. See, I'm all in blue, right? It's because there's a blue light up there. Watch this. Watch how the vape makes me change colour. Shut up. Went purple. It did. It went purple, look.
Oh.
And pink and that. And then when it clears, it goes back to the blue. Or I could just be doing it with a light. Look. Red in the background. Blue. And all the other variations of it. I think it's stopped working. Parapod Mysteries.
There's a couple in the chat. I know the answer to this one. This is an odd question, but did any of your stand-ups circa 2007 feature a routine about a motorway stop glory hole? I may have seen you at a student union gig, but I've never been sure.
Yes, it did, yeah. And that story was on the first ever Ray Peacock podcast, I believe, if memory serves. So that's how old that was. Who's that from?
That was Alec Norton.
Alec, yeah, I did have a routine about Glory Hole, which I did recently, again, at whatever gig I did last. I did it for some reason. I can't remember why. Yes, I did.
Not questions, but Christopher Clayton likes the Clayto nickname.
Clayto.
Clayto!
Clayto!
And likes your bookshelf setup.
Thank you. I made it myself last week. I made it myself. I bought it and put it together myself. But thank you. The picture isn't very good, is it? Is the picture better on the screen?
On here?
Yeah.
It's worse on mine, but that's because we're on the same internet.
Terrible. There's Macs, isn't it? Desktop Macs. Terrible cameras on them. Evian water.
Morgan Heggie says, is the Parapod
I just laughed at your name. I didn't mean to, sorry.
That might not be how you pronounce it.
Okay.
Is the Parapod the most challenging project you've worked on in your career?
Yeah, probably is, really. Probably. But I've not finished it yet, so I might feel like it was easier. It was all right by the time I finished it, but thus far, yeah, really difficult. And I have to like read things like this book about directing, and then another book about storyboards, and that one gives too much away. And this one I was reading as well. This has been really hard to read. I can actually show you the Parapod movie, if you like. Ready? That is the Parapod movie. So far. That. Look at that. 3 terabytes of Parapod bollocks in there. Oh, the secrets that could hold. And one of them, by the way, I've only got 1 copy of. I've got doubles of everything else. I've only got 1 copy. I've still not transferred it. So if that blows up, then that's the end of that bit. That's the Barry Nude bit out the window. Barry Nude.
Tom Taylor wants to know what's your favourite biscuit. That's off the comments.
Favourite biscuit. Then you get into the Jaffa cake argument, don't you? If it's a biscuit or a cake.
Would you choose a Jaffa cake though, even if it was a biscuit?
I don't know what I can think of at the moment.
You like pink wafers?
Oh, I do like pink wafers. That's a wafer, it's not a biscuit.
It's a biscuit.
Pink wafers, like, I wouldn't say it's my favourite. If I was on a desert island and it's like, oh, you can only have one sort of biscuit here, I wouldn't go, oh, give us all a load of pink wafers.
Spencer's chocolate round.
Don't stop me being accessible to the plebs.
From the garage, Marks and
Yeah, from the cheap garage. Cheap chocolate rounds from the cheap garage. Economy range. I do like those because they've got a thick chocolate on them, haven't they? Pair of glasses.
I'm getting like stuck between the questions on one and the questions on the other. Mark
Is it bad if I vape during that?
Says, how did you and I meet? As in me. How did we meet?
Do I tell them the truth answer or the public story?
I didn't know they were different.
I was making a joke.
Okay.
I sometimes forget your Asperger's. Can I tell them how we met?
Yeah.
We met on Twitter, where Joe had tweeted something one night, and I saw her tweet it. I didn't see her tweet it. I wasn't looking through the window. But I saw the tweet come up, and she seemed like she was needing to talk to someone. So I, what do they call it? Slid into the DMs.
Yeah, that's what you did.
Slid into her DMs, mate, and said you could talk to me if you needed someone to talk to, because I was up and it was really late at night, and then you didn't. That's right, isn't it?
Yes.
And then I saw you do the same thing, maybe like a month later.
Yeah, it was
a while later. And I said that because I'd give you my Skype.
You gave me your mobile number.
Slid into the DMs and gave my mobile number. But you didn't get in touch with me.
No.
And then I saw you then saying it again, and I said, I wasn't joking. No, what was it I said? I said a funny phrase. Not funny, but I said a specific phrase.
Don't remember.
So, thanks. It wasn't. This is why I gave you my number or something like that.
Yeah, you did say like I gave you my number for a reason.
Okay. We know what her reason was. That's how we met, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then, do you know what happened? I meant to reply to this because somebody sent a message on one of the Patreon posts recently about me playing at Windsor Fire Station. And they said there were like 7 people in the audience, and Dave Gorman was upstairs, and I realised that was the first day I met you in real life, because I'd come to meet you.
Oh, was it?
In Reading.
Yeah.
And then I said you could come to the gig, and you didn't come to the gig. So then I went up to that gig after I'd met you in Reading. We're just friends at this point, but that was that day.
But first time we were in a room together was years before.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
When you were stand-up on Good News.
Yeah.
I was in the audience.
Yeah. So on my Russell Howard's Good News, when I did it on my own, you can see Joe in the audience. It's one bit, and you're really, really laughing. You're really impressed with me. You are laughing though, eh?
Yeah.
But imagine that if we'd seen it years later and you were just like, Don't
What,
like
me
this.
not laughing?
Don't like this at all. Yeah, that's the first time we're in a room together, but we didn't meet each other. Although I would say that I meet all my audience when I do a gig, that we do meet each other. What's that? Paul Wellens.
Got a long one here from Nikki Williams.
Nikki. I don't think I know if Nikki Williams is a boy or a girl.
Shall I just see if I can find out?
Yeah, do you want to have a look?
Yeah, 1 second.
Or
it's a boy.
A boy.
In the picture, anyway.
Yeah, okay.
Or whatever they identify themselves as, what it looks like.
Yeah, helicopter. Could be a helicopter.
Here's one that I have from the other day after listening to a previous Food Bar podcast. It's not great, but I'm interested since other people seem to have
Somebody
the same
just left. Somebody just went.
idea/fantasy. That makes it sound too much like a sex thing. Since you live out in the country now, have you ever considered setting up a bed outside and putting a plastic sheet thing over it when rain is due? I've had the same idea when it's raining at night, and a tent just doesn't feel like it would be as good, even if the material was transparent.
Kind of got one.
We have got a bed in the garden with a thing over it.
Yeah, we sort of got one already. But here's the thing. Here's the problem at the moment with it.
Oh, okay. So N Drinks is Nikki.
This isn't what they did it like on Star
Nikki
Test.
Williams is the same person who's the N Drinks person who's in the chat now.
So they're doing like multiple goes of it.
Some from different places.
The problem with the bed in the garden thing, swingy bed business, is I think I should have taken off the cushions off it and the roof lid thing off it for the winter, because
moldy.
It has gone like. Is it mold? Is that what it is?
It's like mildew or something was on it.
I think it's moss. That's what
I mean, like something's growing on it.
Yeah. It's gone a bit sort of like slightly off green.
We'll power wash it in the sunshine in summer.
Did you hear the word wheel then? I'll power wash it in the summer.
I'll help.
Secret Santa.
I'm getting lost. I will get to everyone at some point. Guy Wah says, is there another podcast in the works with Barry, either Parapod follow-up or something new? And what are his chances of being alive come the end of the film?
Can I just check something? Can they definitely hear me? Because according to this, my microphone's off. I know that's if I want to mute the microphone. Invite people, turn camera off, adjust bandwidth, settings, leave call. Okay. So I'm just looking at my options. No, there isn't anything planned with Barry other than like get him wrapped on this film and get him out my hair. No, there's not. Well, kind of like we just. I think it's quite fun just doing those little ones on the Patreon. They're quite fun. Which I've started calling. I don't want any money. But I don't think any of the ones where I've said that has been out yet. But we recorded one weirdly that I was going to put out today, which is just this, which is Barry started asking me questions, and so Barry interviewed me, and like with this, it's just not really funny. It's just like I just answer questions, and just don't try and make jokes about them. But yeah, we'll probably do like bits and bobs on the Patreon that, but I don't have an idea for a full one. And the problem I think with it is, like, some people have said like, oh, Barry has to explain something, or Barry has to do this, or Barry, because of the way he is, and it just feels too similar to like Carl Pilkington and Gervais and that, you know, because I can see the similarities in that with Barry, and it's just that I can only play the team in front of me. That's what he is, and that's what he's like. But I don't want to go. I'm sure that Gervais did that, which is like Carl explains stuff, or somebody explains stuff to Carl, and he has to get his head around it. And it's very funny, and it's funny when Barry does it. But I think I'd want a more specific idea.
Sorry.
A more specific idea than that, to make a series out of it. We've got to finish the Parapod movie. Can't do anything else until that, really. Other than 4,000 words, which I'm still doing. To thine own self be true.
Are the Parapod Pontefract specials the most scared you've ever seen Barry, or has he trumped that for the movie without wishing to dip into spoilers?
We can't ask a question that would require a spoiler for me to reply, and then say, but I don't want spoilers. I've seen him more scared than Pontefract.
Yes, you have done.
Yes, I have. My problem with now just literally reading words.
Ernest Jones says, any advice for someone interested in going into stand-up?
Who's this?
Ernest Jones.
Ernest Jones. Ask yourself why you're doing it, and if you can give yourself a satisfactory answer, then proceed. I don't know. I've got no advice. I don't know. I can't really give advice, can I?
Be yourself.
Do you think?
Don't try and tailor yourself to the trends in stand-up.
Yeah. But if people see that that works, if people see that tailoring yourself to trends works, rather than being something different to that, surely then the best advice is say, follow the crowd.
Well, it depends what success is in their eyes.
Right.
Because then you'd have to behave in different ways. Success.
Is my shoulder on fire?
Whoa!
Go on, sorry to interrupt.
No, I'm not going to go into any more than that. It's just,
right.
It depends what you consider to be your end goal of getting into stand-up, because that will... You're just going to put that in front of me, so it replaces me.
It's like they're all listening to you.
They all want to get into stand-up.
Yeah. They're trying their hardest to stand up. Look, oh God. They just keep coming, look. They just keep coming. What are they doing? You get the idea. Pac-Man.
So I have a question here from Martin, which I'm going to link to something that's been said by Mark Zlatkin in the live chat.
Okay.
Mark says, please include Raji in the movie. Man desperately needs to work still. And Martin, on the comments on Patreon, said, been a fan since the original podcast, do you and Raji still talk?
The answer to both questions is no.
The end?
Yeah, I don't know. We don't talk. He occasionally tweets me out the blue sometimes.
Yeah, I see him on Twitter sometimes.
But like not much, like very rarely. And he'll always call me sir. Good work, sir, or something like that he'll say. But I've not seen Raji since his wedding, whenever that was. So that must be like 6-7 years ago, maybe longer. I know I have seen him since then because we did the reunion podcast, and the reunion podcast is all the reason you would need to know that no, I wouldn't. I don't think we should work together ever again. And he certainly shouldn't be in the Parapet movie. That's not anything to do with him, or there's no crossover there at all. So no is the answer to that. When he did that reunion podcast, he came in like both me and Ed afterwards were like, after he went, we were like, oh, it was nice of him to do it and all that, but me and Ed just didn't say anything to each other for a while until one of us just broached it and went, was he being a bit of a cock when he came in today? And it's sort of like, he wasn't quite a cock, but he came in like really cocksure of himself, and like he just literally didn't need this, don't need this, don't like, I'm going to go back to my manager. He didn't need it, but it was just a nice thing to do, we thought, for all the three of us to get together again. And he just didn't really join in. It was like blood from a stone, it really was. But he sort of was kind of superior to it. And there's a very telling thing at the end of that podcast where Raji said, I think he did a poem or something, but he said something like, I'm not in it anymore, but don't worry, it'll be fine or something. And we were like, fuck off, it's not. You're not the reason it's successful, but there we go. So yeah, I don't think me and Raji would work together again. But I'd quite like to see him in real life. I'd quite like to see him like for a drink or whatever he's allowed to have in his culture. Because he's a nice lad, Raji, really. The end. You tell me to press that because I made a joke about his culture. You're appalled. Muppet Theatre. How long's this been? Half an hour.
Do you want me to start going to the ones that are on the
You're the computer of the star test, so you can just be in charge.
I know you in the live chat have asked a few questions. I'm not forgetting you. I'm going to ask some of the comments for a bit.
Because this suits the category you've chosen. John Mason says, if you could own any original prop from Star Wars, Muppets, or another film or TV project, assuming money was no object, what would it be?
I've got no idea.
Should we do these quick fire?
Yeah, I can't do that quick fire though. From Star Wars, I would like to own an original prop from Star Wars. It would be a costume, if that would count. It'd be probably a C-3PO or something, or maybe an R2-D2, maybe, I don't know. But I've got the R2-D2 downstairs, but I don't know. A C-3PO. I'd like a C-3PO that I could put on a mannequin and put it next to the R2-D2. And what was the other one? Muppets?
Well, they've just said Star Wars, Muppets, or another film/TV project.
Muppets, I would genuinely like Sweetums.
Isn't that a costume?
Yeah.
It's still a prop.
Well, they're all puppets, aren't they? I don't think he means like, would you like a light from the theatre or something?
No, you know what I mean, though. That would be a costume.
It's not. It's a puppet. It's still a puppet.
Even if someone's wearing it?
Yeah, because he's there to work it from the inside of the mouth.
Fine.
Sweetums, I would like Sweetums. A massive sweet, because he's massive as well. I'd like Sweetums stuffed. Would that still be a problem for you?
Me?
Yeah, because you don't like anything.
I think I'd find that quite spooky.
What, Sweetums?
He's big.
I know, but then you would know it's not a human.
It scares me. But it's not, I get him confused with, there's another big one that is a human, isn't there?
Sweetums is the one that drawing that Roger Language did.
What's the big red thing in the Christmas special thing? Christmas film?
The big red thing?
There's a big puppet in a Christmas one.
Oh, the bloke.
He's a person, yeah.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Okay, it won't be that one.
That's my worst one.
My friend Phil knows the person who's inside that.
Really?
Yeah. Showbiz Inside Gossip. Is there any more strains to that question?
No. Shall I go on to the next one?
Robert McKee, story.
What's the last video game you played which you really loved from Dylan on Patreon?
What, the last specific one from Dylan? I don't think Dylan's ever sent me any of them.
What, little Dylan?
Little Dylan?
I think what is your...
Oh, right, yeah. Okay.
Called Dylan?
Yes, my nephew, isn't he? Yeah. I don't remember ever enjoying a video game for ages that I really enjoyed. Can you think of anything I've played?
I thought you quite liked the little spooky one. What was that called? Little Nightmares.
Oh, Little Nightmares. I did like that. Yeah, I did like that. Probably Little Nightmares then, and also the soundtrack that came with it as a special edition. I like the soundtrack of it as well. But I started playing that Uncharted one, and I got bored with that. And I still don't really know how Battlefront works. The new one, I've not got my head around it, and I guess because they've changed how it works and stuff. I just don't know what I'm meant to press in so the crafting parts, and I don't know how you do that. I've got crafting parts, but I don't know where I go. I don't know what I press to make that happen.
I think it's too many layers for you, isn't it? You just want like a press this button to shoot and this button to duck.
Yeah, but they can have. But on the rugby game, I'm pretty good at working out all the things on that.
I don't mean different controls, then I guess different layers of gameplay.
Yeah.
So you kind of want a core thing that's you can get really good at.
Yeah.
Rather than layering.
I get very annoyed when things come up on the screen and tell me what to do.
But the rugby's the same, isn't it? As in, you want to just play the rugby, but they layer on like different ways you can do it and different elements to it, and it's like, no, I just want to play the core.
But I learn those as I go along. I definitely learn those. But I'll be like 3 months. I'll go, right, how do I do a drop goal? Let's have a look at that. See what do I press to do a drop goal, or to chip through or something like that. I like it to be basic and then go through to it. Yeah. That's the end of that question. Was that the end of that question?
Quite quickly. Yes,
okay. Live chat 1.
Someone here who's just got their thing as dual player ink, not her name, says, how did you refine your interview style / how do you approach an interview, brackets, research or whatever?
Whatever is the answer to that one. I just meet whoever comes through the door and then ask them who they are, essentially. I have like a press release, but I don't read it, and I look at the top of it, and normally I'll have a vague idea who someone is if it's someone well known or whatever. But if it's just someone plugging some show or some book they've written or whatever, then I just prefer to just chat with them. Although Karen Emmett Manus, who wrote One of Us Is Lying, I had read her book beforehand.
Even I read that.
You read it, didn't you?
And I never read a book.
Well, that's not. You can't have it both ways. You can't be you never read one and then say you have read one.
That is the last full book I have read the whole thing of. That wasn't for my assignment.
Yeah.
In probably 2 years.
Shh, you can't speak about your assignment because it's a secret government assignment. Remember? Yeah.
I had to read that book.
Yeah. So I read her book. I think sometimes it doesn't work, is what I think about my interview technique. Sometimes it doesn't work, but when it does work, it's really nice. And the people who are being interviewed really like it when it does work. When it doesn't work, they really don't like it, and I really don't care. And that's the best interview you can have, I reckon, though, is just to ask them, because otherwise you're asking them, oh, when's your book out? And it's like, I know when your book's out. It's written on that sheet of paper there. So if I don't find those things out, then if I'm interested, I'll genuinely just ask them, when's your book out? When, you know, or if I don't like what they're saying, I won't even ask them when the book's out. I'll say, well, it's been nice chatting with you, and all power to your elbow. I said that quite a lot for a while. So yeah, I don't really have a plan as such with interviews. I just, again, play the team in front of me that comes through the door. And they're normally lovely. Most people are lovely.
I need a light to flash to be like that you're done. Like, what's his name of Chortle? Steve Bennett at the back of the Chortle Award.
Oh, when he presses things.
Right, yeah.
Oh, is that to tell me that I've gone on too long about the question? Oh, sorry. Okay. Just start waving, because I can see you on the screen. That's why I keep looking down there. So I'm looking at Joe there. Okay. Stormtrooper.
Are Patreon subscriptions as much as you hoped / expected?
The more than I expected. I didn't expect anything, but I suspected. I've nearly hit that target. Like I said, I wanted 500 patrons, and I thought that was just a ridiculous number, and I'm like 430 or something now, I think. So yeah, I'm perfectly happy with them, and slightly trying not to be overwhelmed with it. I'm trying not to be lazy with it as well, because that's an easy thing to do, I think. If you suddenly go, oh, this will be fine, and then I'm trying to keep the ball in the air, because I enjoy doing it. I enjoy keeping the ball. I enjoy feeling productive, and I enjoy being productive. But I did fall asleep just before this for about 20 minutes in that very chair. Live streaming attempt. Are there many more of these, by the way?
Yeah, there's loads. Let me know if you want me, because at the moment I'm prioritising the live chat, even though obviously people ask things on the Patreon, because I imagine some people who are asking on the Patreon aren't actually now in the chat.
Right.
So I'm prioritising people who are here.
Okay.
But also, some people who are here did ask questions on the Patreon, so I'm just like, yeah.
But people are going.
I know, we've lost 3.
Do you think people are staying till their questions asked and then just going?
Maybe.
I don't
Another one from Christopher Clayton.
Let's not answer any questions then. Clayto! Claytmeister! Yeah.
Does oversaturation of a comic via constant TV appearances, brackets, panel shows, etc., ultimately harm them in the years to come?
Don't know.
You've never been one, have you?
Never been one, don't know. Can't say. I don't know. I think oversaturation of anything anywhere would harm your longevity, perhaps, would it? I don't know. Unless you reinvent, unless you do different things. I don't really relate to it. I don't really understand. Like, I know what the stresses are of being on one thing once. I don't know why anyone would want to do that like every week or do 3 or 4 every week. It's crazy to me, that. Because you must then, that's going to have a knock-on effect to, you know, your abilities or your writer's abilities. Your secret writer who writes all your material you do on your panel show, that secret, dirty little secret writer that does all that, and you give them 200 quid for it. That'd be a huge pressure on that person, I would have thought. I don't know. I worry about Ramesh sometimes. I think with Ramesh, because Ramesh is kind of ubiquitous, isn't he? And he's tremendously talented bloke, Ramesh. But I guess that's maybe a good example, is he does lots of different things, doesn't he? He does his panel stuff. I presume he still does that. And he does his, you know, where he goes and does a tour of Africa, where he's from or whatever. and all that sort of business. I think, but he's just doing a really good stand-up. That's probably going to be best for him to do, isn't it? Stand-up or his tour. I don't know. I worry that he might get oversaturated. And he's quite saturated already, isn't he? When you look at him, he's got quite a... What? You're right. I can't say these things if Ramesh isn't here. Right, I take it back. Unless someone can get Ramesh here now and say that I'm talking about him, then I'll take it all back. Next question, please. Ramesh Ranganathan.
Luke Armstrong on Patreon says, any plans for future collaboration with Jim Sterling? Did he at least send you the VR for Christmas?
One person just joined. Do you think that was Ramesh?
Maybe. Someone also pointed out on the chat that Jim Sterling has just released something. I assume they're saying as in just released it just now. So
right.
He clearly doesn't want the competition, so everyone's going to see Jim Sterling's content right now.
Oh, I don't. That's all right. Do we have crossover? Like games and
I think they were joking.
A bloke just sat in his office. I never had any plans to do anything with Jim anyway, in the first place. So really, whenever Jim would say, "Oh, do you want to do this?" I'd go, "All right, if I'm free, I'll do it." And I think we were going to do one not long ago, and then I think he had to go to hospital or something like that. He had something up with him. It was only like a couple of weeks ago. So we didn't do that, and so we'd rain check on it. But I've not heard from him. I don't really speak to him that often. But when he talks to me, I talk to him. So no plans, but the ones that already happened weren't a plan. And no, he didn't send me his VR at all. But I'm fine with that because I don't really like them. I liked the that is Star Wars. That is Star Wars in sign language. I like Star Wars, but the Battlefront one, the X-Wing mission.
Don't need a PlayStation VR anyway because now I have an Oculus Rift, which is better.
Say that because that'll be less chance of him sending it.
Oh, I have it and you're not allowed to use it.
That's I think I'm not the only person that has used that so far. I had a Bongo over your Oculus Rift, which was much better than the VR, by the way.
It is much better.
It really was, because I borrowed Barry's VR for a bit, and the Oculus was much better, but you can't plug it into the PlayStation unless somebody knows how you can. You just tell me. Best bin security guard.
Richard Goodley says, did you ever consider playing rugby league professionally? You mentioned on Fubo that you played for a while during school/college, but did you ever consider going pro?
I carried on playing. I played all right. Would I have been counted as professional? I played. I couldn't train. It just did my head in. I didn't like going. That was just like Tuesdays and Thursdays we train. And I just hated it. I had to get a bus to go training, and some days it would be muddy. And I also I'm not very good around sort of lad kind of culture, sort of that sort of thing, and that was quite prevalent within it, like lads. And I've never really been like that, and I didn't like necessarily being around it. On the pitch, I can handle it. On the pitch, it was fine. You get a camaraderie, but like in the changing rooms or on the bus or in the bar or whatever, I just don't really like that. I'm not good at it. So no, I was never gonna crack on to do it full time. Too little. I've only got little legs. I was very strong. I was very fast, and I could pass the ball good as well, and catch it.
Good, that's important.
Yeah, and I was a decent kicker, and I was good running from dummy half. So good getting the ball and then going.
How good are you at having a nap?
Very good at having a nap. This is Jo actually plays for Saints at the moment. And she's selected in a lot of games, but every game that's on TV, she'll mention that she's meant to be playing, but she sometimes just has a sleep instead. But she was every game last year. She played in every game last year, but didn't touch the ball once because she just lies down on the centre spot, don't you?
Yes.
Just have a sleep. You might as well try.
Smurf. You had 3 people. Sorry, you had 3 people, by the way, who have confirmed that they know you through Jim. That's how they found you, through Jim Sterling's work. So you have got some crossover fans.
Oh, I see. Yeah, no, I mean in content, though, in terms of content.
But as in, you've got them in here, so they're with you right now, so you have stolen them.
Right. So we are bringing him down from the inside. So R35 that we've got on the go, right? I presume he's just got about like 1 million or something. But R35, that's how it starts, isn't it? Little acorns, and then Smurf Tower. You can go, by the way, whenever you want. I'm very aware it's Christmas Day.
Josh Donaldson on Patreon asked, with the book, is anybody there? Are you still planning to have it released within a similar time of the movie? Absolutely love the chapter you posted. So excited for more.
Is the plan still to release it with the movie?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, that wasn't a plan. That was just what I presumed would happen. I presumed it would be around then. But I don't know if it would be done in time. I don't know which one would be done first. And I can't really release it before the movie because there is stuff from the movie in it. Is this steaming up? Do you think this looks like it's steamed up?
I don't know.
Oh no, I've got all lines like,
I think from your
like in The Omen.
From your
That means I'm going to die soon from a spear. There's now stuff in that book that's from the movie, stuff that's happened in the movie. So I wouldn't want to. Here's my thinking. I'll just tell you exactly what I'm thinking is. I don't want it to be a tie-in book, so I don't want it to be a book that's about the Powerpop movie. I want it to be a book on its own, right? And the movie on its own. There's stuff in the book that happens in the movie, and it's related back to that this happened during the filming of a film. But I don't want it to be like a tie-in book. That's so I want it to be a standalone thing. So the plan, there isn't a plan, but I think in fact I'd say I'm pretty confident I'm going to do it through Unbound. So they've agreed to me doing it, and that would be, I guess it's crowdfunded, is it? That's with Unbound. You see how many copies you sell, and then if you sell enough of them, then they print your book. So that's what I think I'm going to do with it there, and I suspect it will be post-movie, depending how long it takes to finish the film and get it all put together. The end of the question. Thank you. An analysis of sexual humour. Oh, that's what it'll be, because I'm pressing that.
Oh, what,
I've smudged it.
On it.
Yeah. That is a real book, by the way, that I've got here. It's featured quite heavily in the film The Aristocrats. Crats, not cats.
A question from Daniel in the chat.
Hello, Daniel. Daniel who?
Not got a full name.
Oh, Daniel, not full name, eh? Oh, well then I will answer this with a little bit of maturity. If it is Daniel, because his questions tend to be academic.
Do you actually watch any of Jim's content?
Jim Sterling, does he mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, sometimes. I don't watch it like, oh, you probably watch it, but I sometimes watch it. But I don't watch it like, oh, a new video has come out, what Jim does, so I'll watch that. Because I think he puts like so much stuff out that it'd be hard to keep up with that. I think if I was on my Patreon, I wouldn't read everything. That's also what I think. It's just too much stuff in it. So
they're long.
All right, well, you don't have to read it. Yeah, so I watch some of it. Yeah, I do. I engage some of it, and I quite like his podcast. And this sounds terrible, but some of his podcasts I quite like falling asleep to because I don't know what he's on about. So sometimes I'll put his podcast on, just like white noise. That's genuinely true because I don't know what he's talking about a lot of the time. Don't know what a frame rate is or all that business. No idea. Although I've learned now about frame rates because somebody very high up in the movie that I'm directing decided to film a significant proportion of it recently in fucking slow motion. And it can't be fixed. So I do know about frame rates now because I know that he's done it wrong. We retook it, but it wasn't the same. Vape.
This is one from Patreon. Peter Robinson asks, what's the best
Hi,
thing
Peter
you have
Robinson.
done
Happy Christmas.
this year in your career and just for fun? And what are you looking forward to doing in 2018?
What's the best thing I've done
this year, both in your career and for fun?
I don't know. Well, I don't know what I've done.
What's the highlights of your year? Put them bookshelves up.
Yeah, put them bookshelves up. It's technically career, isn't it? Because it's an office. I don't know. Honestly, don't know. Oh, the PowerPoint Live was fun. That was a good night.
That was very good.
Yeah, and we met people and stuff. That was quite a nice night.
Yeah.
It was easy as well today. Quite invigorating, quite validating. So maybe that professionally. What was the rest of the question?
And just for fun.
Put them bookshelves up. I reckon, yeah. Or I had what was that bread I got that time? It was lovely, and I really enjoyed eating it.
What about your ginger drink as well?
Oh, I got ginger liqueur the other day at a castle, and I didn't think I would like it. I felt like I was a little bit drunk from doing tasters, and I was driving. I had like little tasters. I definitely wasn't drunk, but I started feeling like, oh, I think I've had too much of this. But I don't reckon I'd had that much of all of it together.
I think it's funny that I'm such a bad driver that it was still better that you drove us home.
That's not true.
I hadn't had anything.
I definitely wasn't drunk. Like, definitely wasn't. It was ginger liqueur. I bought, and I've been having it every night. I really like it. I have a little bit of it every night, but I really like it. And it's got a little taste of whiskey. And I saw my parents the other day. Shit, that scared me. My book fell over. And I told my parents I'd got this ginger liqueur and that it has a little taste of whiskey. But I don't like whiskey. I went, oh, there's a little taste of whiskey to it. And for the rest of the evening, they kept telling me about different sorts of whiskies. And like, oh, we've got some whiskey at our house you can have. And, oh, we'll get you a bottle of this whiskey. I was like, I don't like whiskey. I just mentioned it in passing about a ginger liqueur. I mean, you're right to leave. I'd have left by now. How many more questions are
there? There is...
Dragon.
2 questions left on the Patreon.
Okay, let's do those.
And 1, 2, maybe 3 or so left on the live chat.
Okay.
For the Patreon ones?
Yes. Please.
Tim Garrett asks...
Tim!
Why do you think there haven't been any recent classics, stuff like Ghostbusters, Die Hard, Home Alone, etc., films that people watch again and again over the years? Beyond the Harry Potter films and Frozen, but that's a bit different. I can't think of anything that's had that kind of impact in recent years compared to the films of the 80s/90s. Hope that makes sense. It was the subject of drunken debate the other night and wondered what someone who proper invests in franchises feels about it.
I think it's amounts of things.
I was going to say exactly the same thing.
Yeah, but it's not. This isn't your interview.
I'm just saying that is what it is.
But this is my wisdom that they're after at the moment.
Well, when I do my rival Patreon,
right,
I'm going to get more people on my live questions.
Well, then if they ask you why is there not another Ghostbusters, then you can answer it. I think it's because there's too many of the things. Not too many, but there are many more of them, and it's harder to isolate, and things don't have event excitement anymore. Although I suppose Star Wars does, I guess, but that's
someone
just...
also on here has just said because we don't know what will be a classic yet.
No, I disagree with that. I disagree with that. I don't think that's true. I think you do know. I think it was clear that Ghostbusters, would have been a classic when Ghostbusters came out. Might go and talk.
Can I tell you something that I've just found out about your ginger liqueur?
Yeah.
It is Scotch whiskey. That is what it is. The alcohol in it is whiskey, so your parents were right.
No, I didn't say there wasn't whiskey in it. I said it has a taste of whiskey, but it's called ginger liqueur.
But you can't say that you don't like whiskey when it is whiskey.
I can. I can say that I'm not a fan of whiskey, but something can have a bit of whiskey in it, and that's fine.
It's the whole thing is whiskey, though. It is flavoured whiskey.
It's not.
The other ingredients are just natural ginger flavour and yeast.
I don't know if that's true.
I just looked it up.
Well, you don't do your voice. You can't do Kermit's voice very well. I do another cough.
I can't.
Just make one up. Bit of expert puppeteering there. Lost a viewer though. I think you could tell that Ghostbusters were going to be a classic. Ditto Back to the Future. I think you could tell at the time that these were going to be films that were going to be around for a long time. So I would argue that we don't know what's going to be a classic yet. But yeah, things are just churned out, aren't they now? And do you want me to put Kermit back there? Can I put Kermit on your leg? So yeah, that's the answer to whatever the question was. Thank you. Chewbacca.
Julie.
Is this really worth doing for 30 people on
Yes,
Christmas Day?
I don't celebrate Christmas.
Well, no, we're not done Christmas, but it just feels like
Julie Prunes
Julie Prunes
asked on Patreon. What was the best Christmas present you ever got? Also, do you have an Apple Pencil?
My best Christmas present. I sort of do have an Apple Pencil, sort of. I've got my which is my best recent present actually. It's my Wacom tablet that you bought me.
Cool, yeah.
And that's got essentially an Apple Pencil with it, hasn't it?
Stylus thing, yeah.
Yeah. So really, that's the best recent present I've got, and it's been very useful in my art, my commission art stuff that I do. And I have kind of got an Apple Pencil, but I don't know. It can eat away. You can't eat one in an Apple Pencil. It can really make you sort of like, you could go to extremes wanting an Apple Pencil. I think to the point of begging, possibly. But no, I don't have an Apple Pencil, but I don't have one of the big iPad things.
They're too big, them ones.
Too big. Everyone agrees on that. How many questions left?
Well, I feel terrible because PDT is telling me off for not asking his question, but it was really long.
You said before we did this, you said, I hope PDT doesn't ask anything.
No, I didn't.
Because it just won't read it out.
No, I just, reading is hard for me. And it
said horrible things about you,
paragraph.
Yeah.
And it was too much, but I will read it and I apologise. And he has sent a winky face. Says, I think he's accepting my apology. So PDT on Patreon asked, right, get ready for some big reading. Probably I'll zoom in. I'm going to make my computer zoomed in so the text is bigger.
Okay. Do you want me to cover you up with a Blue Peter?
Too far now, it's you.
I'll cover you up with a Blue Peter badge.
Right,
so people can't see you.
I've gone too far. Okay.
Any other ladies watching, get you in any museum.
I suppose the immediate question will be, will we be able to listen to this live broadcast later if we're stuck with family at 4, but likely to get lonely later on? But the other question is this: what does it take for you to cut someone out of your life, be it an employer or a friend? I think I have a similar sense of being wronged, etc. to you in a way, and can be quite knee-jerk about it on social media in particular. There is someone who, for a while now, only gets in touch when he needs something. I've just done a bloody massive bit of work for him and not even had an acknowledgement that he's received it. Not even a thank you or a that looks good. Am I wrong to be thinking, you know what, fuck you then?
Do you think this sounds like he means me? Like the way it's worded? Has he done any bit of work for me, Pete? Oh, I don't know how to answer. What was the start of the question?
What does it take for you to cut ties with someone, I think? Yeah.
Oh, right, so he's not asking how to do it. He's asking, like...
It's about what goes through your head, I guess, in that process and how you decide to do it.
I think if you get to a point...
He says he promises it's not about you.
No. If you get to a point where... This is what I think. If you get to a point where even imagining that person at their best in your relationship with them, whatever that may be, is not worth what they are at the moment, so even if you had both things, what outweighs what, and how much of it is not considering you? So how much of it is, I can't even think how to word it. How much of it is not taking you into account and would carry on even when they're good as well? I could probably do a blog about it better when I could think it through better.
I cut someone out of my life probably the first time. Well, I have cut other people out, but not quite as. Like, I think this sounds terrible. Not that I learnt from you, but as in seeing you stand up for yourself and stuff.
If anyone wants any advice about how to fuck off people, just come to me.
Honestly, it's the first time where I was like,
I know where all the block buttons are and everything.
I really thought trying to sort out this is not worth the effort. The benefits coming from this situation are just not worth all the drama and how much this is getting to me. And I think the biggest thing that like then makes you know you've done the right decision is when you cut the person out and you actually feel relief.
Yeah.
You're like, oh no, it's okay now.
But that's because you're only thinking about that person at the time when you wanted to cut them out. So you're not thinking about what they were before or what. So that's why I mean you have to balance up. Is it worth it? Is it worth the quest to go back to what it was? Is it worth going? No, I can get this back to what it was. Or, you know what I mean? Or maybe they're going through a phase or whatever it is. So I think it's a difficult one. And I think because Pete said about knee jerk as well. If you're knee jerk, dropping like flies. Let's keep talking about this and just get rid of everyone. If you go knee jerk, then I think that you're in danger of not actually working out whether it's the right decision. That's what I think.
But then also,
getting old, aren't we?
If you spend too much time thinking that you might be able to fix it or put it back to how it was, or if that person just went back to their normal self or just apologised, then everything will be okay. Then you never actually let it go, and it causes you even more drama. So then the better thing is to just block them on everything.
Okay.
It might take a long time to get.
Yeah. So my advice, Pete, is have a think about it and work it out. Joe's advice is block them on everything.
Yeah. Don't forget phone number. Block phone number.
Phone number is very important. Block phone number. What else? Where do you have to block people? Twitter, Facebook,
Instagram,
phone number, WhatsApp.
WhatsApp, yeah.
God, they could get around it, couldn't it?
So number.
Emails.
Email's hard. Hard to block an email. You have to
because it goes into your junk folder.
Then they have to put in a rule that automatically deletes their email before it hits your inbox. Just Google your email.
It's tempted to go and look in your junk folder to see if there's anything.
If you Gmail,
have they been in touch?
Most people are Gmail. If you just Google adding a rule and you don't want it to go to your junk folder, you just want it to permanently delete. So you just say emails from this person, permanently delete them. You'd never know they were there.
Could you put in things like unless they have won £1 million and want to be friends again? Something like that.
Probably.
Yeah. Check the rules, Pete. Well, sorry that you got that going on. It's never nice, is it?
There were some questions about Star Wars ages back that I'm trying to find.
I mean, I'm bored.
Okay, well, this can be your last questions then.
Well, not if there's any questions that have gone unanswered.
I don't think there are other than these Star Wars ones, but someone, if you're in the live stream and I missed your question, right, just shout and I'll scroll back up and
go and see
it.
Randy Newman, look.
So the one from Clayto, that's why I left it.
Clayto!
It asked a ton, so
I'm going
I just thought it could wait till the end.
Answer Clayto's question in the style of early Adam Ant. Is what I want to do for Clayto.
That one's not going to stay in.
This is, I'm not finished it yet, am I?
Are you going to do it in his singing style as well?
No. In fact, I've decided I'm not going to do it at all.
Just pop one on and
Just
you can be Nelly.
falling off me. Nelly? Where does that go? There?
With his plaster?
Is it there?
Yeah.
Alright, I'm Nelly. What does Nelly sing?
Didn't he do like Hot in Here?
I think Nelly did Too Good to Be Forgotten. Too good to be forgotten. Oh, what more can I say?
Okay, 4 days ago he
That was
was sued for
Amazulu.
alleged sexual assault, so maybe don't be him.
We've done it now because you said it. Yeah, good to do it either as Nelly or Gary Glitter. Naughty boy, you know, boy. Naughty boy Nelly. If that is true, naughty boy, get in the jail, please. What was the question of Clayto?
Oh, where am I going?
I don't know where you're going, Clayto. No idea, mate. I'm not your sat nav.
It's so far up.
Clayto.
We've, by the way, got someone who hasn't yet watched the new Star Wars in this chat, so no spoilers.
Okay.
Christopher Clayton
Yeah.
says,
Yeah, everyone's life has to revolve around you now because you've not been to see it.
I Are you surprised at how...
You're going to be gutted when Yoda blows up!
Are you surprised at how divisive The Last Jedi has been with critics and cinema goers? It seems the most split of all the films in the franchise in terms of reaction. And then Daniel did say, seeing as the new trilogy is not to your liking, will you see Ep 9?
I wouldn't say the new trilogy is not to my liking. I just didn't really care for the last one, for reasons that are stated within the Patreon. I don't... Having seen it, I don't think it's a surprise it's divisive. I can totally see why people like it, and I can totally see why people don't. I hesitate to say this, but I genuinely mean it. I think that there are there are. I think it depends how much Star Wars is meant to you. I think it might come into play on this, and I think how much of an actual fan you are. And I don't mean to grade fans like, oh, they're a better fan or they're not, but just how constant it's been in your life comes into play. So whether it might be something that you liked as a kid, and then you went and did all your kissing all the girls or boys, and then you went to university and didn't think about it and all that sort of thing, and then you revisited it again as an adult. I can understand then why you wouldn't be quite as invested in a sense, so that it wouldn't bother you as much when something has such an effect, has such a change to the story. But I can absolutely see why it's divisive. Absolutely. I don't even think that's necessarily a bad thing. I certainly don't. I'm not going to sign any petition saying it should be removed from canon, or I'm certainly don't think it should be remade or any of that nonsense at all. I'm not going to ever say because I don't like something it shouldn't exist, but I reserve the right to say about something that I've put a lot of money into besides anything else, and I've invested in quite heavily emotionally and financially, and it's been a big part of my life, that I surely can say then when I've not really liked something, or especially when it's considered, I'm not just going, oh shit, I've considered it and I've given reasons why, and the things that I think are flawed in it. But I could probably do that about any of the Star Wars films, really. Just perhaps not to that extent. Is that all in the questions answered, or did I miss something out?
You did say you're going to go see it, or you're not going to see it?
Oh yeah, no, I'll go and see, of course I will. Yeah, I'll go and see the Han Solo film. I've got no interest in that at all. Yeah, that feels like a
Cineworld card. Might as well.
To go what?
Said you've got a Cineworld card.
You've got a Cineworld card, mate. Get in free. And it is free. I just ignore the direct debit. It is free to go in there. Yeah, might as well.
So
Han Solo movie is a stupid idea. I really do, but they may well do it brilliantly. Ron Howard's very good, but you know.
I missed somebody's out by accident. Someone who is
PDT. Is it PDT? Because you said
on here.
This
kitten is the username. Has pointed me to one in the live chat and one on Patreon as well, but I can't find the one on Patreon. So if you want to write it again in the chat, then that would be helpful.
Right.
The question in the chat, got a heavy one for you here.
Heavy?
Yeah, heavy question. Carry yourself emotionally. How come no one tells you that a broken heart feels a different kind of broken every day? And other than time, what's good for a broken heart? Food, snacks, Pringles.
Your answer's Pringles. Yeah, Joe thinks Pringles. What's good for a broken heart? Romanticize the heartbreak.
Right, Colin.
Yeah. I do think that. Romanticize the sadness. So make the sadness... If the sadness is never going to go away, if that's what you think, if that's your gut feeling, then romanticize that. So feel like, okay, so that's all finished or whatever, or they broke my heart or whatever it was, but make that into a romantic feeling. That would be my advice on that.
Someone in the comments saying booze, and somebody else saying supporting you on Patreon.
Well, they're already, I presume they already are, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the thing that I did hear once. I read a book about heartbreak. It was a very dense book about heartbreak, so they'd obviously thought about it a lot. And one of the thing was, it said like up your donations to things, like sort of like go. Oh, what would I have spent on a date with the person that broke my heart? I will pour that into a more positive thing and up your donation. I think that's what they said. Or romanticise the heartbreak.
Corbyn's back. He went for
Corbyn,
dinner and he's come back.
He says he went away. Didn't go away because Corbyn is from the internet, so
that's where he lives.
Just always there, isn't he? Corbyn on the internet. Yeah. I'm getting a feeling of what it's like to be Corbyn at the moment because I'm on the internet at the moment, but Corbyn is like just off the internet all the time, isn't
he?
Did Corbyn not have a question? Or he just
said he's ready to join in.
Okay. We're sort of ready to go. Look, drop in viewers. I'm bored doing it.
Rinksy says, don't answer if it's too personal.
Okay.
But you've not mentioned
I'll just show it you
lately. How are you getting on? Brackets. I am fine. From Rinksy.
I don't know, how am I health-wise? I'm alright, aren't I think, at the moment? You could answer that better than me.
Got a sore shoulder.
I have got a sore shoulder, but it's not as bad as it's been. This shoulder's been playing up a lot. But we think it might be from carrying wood.
You know who's not on this?
Who?
John Beck.
John Beck. Well, he's probably like doing Christmas, isn't he?
I think he asked a question about, are you going to dress up as the Queen? But I didn't ask it because I thought it was a joke. Oh,
you're allowed to ask the joke questions.
Okay, well.
So you decided instead to ask me, how do I deal with a broken heart? I might be their only hope. And I've got to answer the question for them. I don't know how you deal with a broken heart. Never had one.
Me to ask every question.
Never had one, mate. I've always been the heartbreaker. Don't know what a broken heart feels like. I've never had a heartbroken. I've always been the one who breaks the hearts, mate. No, I'm not going to dress up as the Queen, John. And I've got a sore shoulder. But kidneys have been all right, touch wood. Not that does anything. And my diverticular thing hasn't... I get twinges every now and again, but I think I'm on top of it. I hope. Unless they're just hoping that I am ill so they don't have to carry on donating. They want a bit of good news, like, how long have you got? How long will I have to do this for? That
it? Yeah, I'm sort of just whizzing through to see if I missed any others.
Wish you a Merry
Someone said, did Tori Spelling sign on for the Powerbomb movie? Is that a joke one? I don't know who Tori Spelling is.
Wasn't Tori Spelling a lady actor?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think I replied to something like that, but I don't know. I don't think I knew what it meant. But no sign of Tori Spelling in the Powerbomb movie, or if she isn't, I have an NDA that I can't discuss Tori Spelling being in the Powerbomb movie. But I wouldn't have thought that she was in it. Is that us?
Yeah, I think so. I'm just checking at the bottom, see if anyone's added anything.
Done over an hour now.
Can you at least do a Queen voice, says Corbyn.
Yeah.
Somebody likes Phantom Menace.
I've paid my dues. Time after time. That's the voice of Queen.
Someone said they liked the Star Wars prequels. Does that make me a sadist? My favourite Star Wars film is the third one of the prequels.
Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah.
Didn't you start crying though in that when he was all burnt up?
I just didn't. I don't like that he gets all burnt up. But okay. I like, for me, as I've explained, because I didn't have the Star Wars films the way around that they were for you, I like the slotting together. I like how the third one then explains things later on because they do connect in my head.
Okay. I've got no issue with the prequels. I can see where the.
Thanks for doing this work perfectly. It was really cool. Merry Christmas.
It was pretty cool, wasn't
it? Someone said dating advice, Joe and Ian both. That's Daniel. I don't know how old Daniel is, so I don't know. Dating advice.
Dating advice is a bit vague, isn't it?
Yeah. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Have a date. Go on a date and be friendly.
Take them Pringles. If you go on a date with a girl, what is a surprisingly nice thing to do is don't take a bunch of flowers. They're dead. Why would you want a dead thing? Take a pack of crisps. Okay, he's 19, so that's fine.
I've never been on a date.
What juice are you using in your vape? Coffee creme. We had that question, Corbyn. Get up to speed.
Yeah, come on, Corbyn. If you haven't got enough to have your Christmas dinner with your family,
should we just keep going?
Then you wouldn't know.
Until there's no one left. There's
well, we're on the right track, aren't we?
Ian should wear a different eccentric dress every time he streams and just not acknowledge it.
Every time he
Barry
streams?
probably has enough in his coding stash to fix a shoulder.
Should we go and have our drugs?
Corbin is at one. We don't have any Rizzler.
We can go to the shop and get Rizzler.
Okay, so what we're going to do.
Barry left some drugs behind, so I might have his drugs. I think we should do that.
Someone said to say hello to that. Oh,
hello.
Tankman, who's that?
Tankman?
On the phone.
Isn't that Richard? Is that right?
Goddo.
Goodo.
There you go. He says, can you say hello to my cat, Barry? I have a friend who also has a cat named Barry. He has been in a mood since I accidentally stepped on foot this morning.
I'm not saying hello to a cat.
From you would make his Christmas.
No, it wouldn't. You've got no idea what the cat's thinking. It might ruin its life. No, do you want to say hello to
Christmas, it? I think they're all going.
Yeah, we're all wrapping this up now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well, look, I hope you're all okay, and I hope you're all having a nice day and stuff. Don't forget that Sarah Milliken is doing her join-in on Twitter, if you're on Twitter, so you can still go to that if you're on some company. I think you've learned in the last hour and whatever this has been that company isn't everything on Christmas Day. Sometimes better just to disengage and not get involved. But I hope you're all right.
Mr. Sandwich on the Patreon said, "Is there?" I found another joke when I missed out. Is there any chance of Romesh recording a "Thank you very much, Ian Bolesworth" jingle for your radio show?
I think he did, didn't he?
As in, you had him record. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you very much, Ray Peacock. I see, because they want you to do a new one.
Oh, so I've not spoken to Romesh for ages.
I think someone in the live stream said at some point, "Would you do a podcast with Romesh?" But you already have done.
Yeah, I think they're too dodgy when I've been in Romesh's company, because you both sort of relax into how you'd be in real life, and sometimes it just doesn't come across quite right. I still maintain that the Peacock and Gamble interview with Romesh had some of the funniest moments, not as a whole, but some of the funniest moments within it of anything I've created. That was very funny, and we did laugh a lot that day, all three of us. But yeah, I don't think it would be something that I'd want to do full time, nor would Romesh, I would imagine. It's hard to tell whether Romesh even likes you, really. He's that sort of bloke. I think we might have lost Joe to Sims.
No, I was just messaging the chat. I said Merry Christmas to all and to all a good night, because they're all saying Merry Christmas.
Okay, let's get going then.
Just, is this going to be available after?
I don't know how this works.
Are you going to leave it up?
I don't know.
So I was just going to say, do you want to do any like shout outs for people who can't make it?
Right, do that then.
Because Henry Ho and Barry William.
All right, I'll do shout outs then. That's for Henry and Barry William. There's a shout out for Barry.
Holly Marsh is there, but she's not in the chat.
Okay, Holly. Hi, Holly. That's the end of it. Now you've got to go. Thank you for being on Star Test.
Thank you for being on Star Test.
No, thank you for having me. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Bex and Mark and Corbin and Daniel and the person whose name is not on there, Martin, Rinksy. All of them lot. All the shout outs.
Have you used today to try and become my sidekick?
No, I have my own stuff.
It's true.
My Patreon has 100 patrons on it.
That's it. You're better than that.
As a sidekick?
Yeah.
So I come do your show? I don't work Mondays. I could.
Good point. I'll start that campaign. She wouldn't even see it. She wouldn't even see the joke. She wouldn't even get it as a joke. She'd just get genuinely upset, which makes it worth doing. Thanks for joining us. It's been nice spending a bit of time with you today. And keep in touch.
Merry Christmas.
Have a nice day.